Welcome back to Open Source. I'm here with Michael Hainsworth. So, Michael, I know that journalists everywhere, especially we're gonna have like clips on our socials and everything. This is going to be like a hot button issue, right? And I'm really curious to get your take because you're so experienced on the legacy media side, but also sort of like the new, I don't know, let's call it digital media side, social media side. You've really kind of done it all. So I guess I'm gonna start this conversation with legacy media. Like, is legacy media today still relevant?
Some of it is. A lot of it is not. When I first got into radio, I noticed something really interesting. There was a hierarchy within the media industry. You had the TV people at the top who thought they were everything. You had the radio people who thought they were everything. And then you had the print people who actually were everything. Because at the end of the day, it's print media that drives the narrative on everything else. So what stunned me when I first got into the business, particularly at what was then CFRB 1010, now News Talk 1010 in Toronto, we rebuilt the studios and we rebuilt the newsroom. And one of the criteria that the old guard insisted on having was a massive center table. And in that massive center table, they would take the day's newspapers and cut out the articles they liked and place them around the table to get a view as to what the news of the day was.
Hmm.
How is that the news of the day when it was printed last night? The mornings in news radio would parrot what they read in the newspaper that had been printed the night before. Television would listen to the radio station in the newsroom because radio is the most immediate of all the platforms. And if there was something big that was happening on the radio, the TV crew would send a truck down and they would then cover it. Then you would have the print journalists show up and they would do the real digging. TV, very facile when it comes to news gathering. Radio, just following the puck. Print journalists are the only ones who have an opportunity to step back, breathe, and provide proper, thoughtful analysis on the news of the day because their deadlines are not minute by minute. Now, you could argue that in the age of social media, every print journalist is required to have an immediacy component to their job,
Hmm.
but these are the only people who are still doing the real journalistic integrity style work of digging up things, finding stuff out, because they have that luxury. If I ever walked
Hmm.
into my TV or radio newsroom and said, I got this great story, I need 3 days. They'd be like, well, what are we going to do on TV for 72 hours while we wait for you to get your act together? You
Right.
know what?
Let,
We're
let me.
just going to wait for the newsprint
Mhm.
people to do it, and then we'll just copy and paste what they did.
I'm going to jump in for a second here, Michael. And again, you're such a fountain of knowledge. And for anyone who's not following, Michael Hainsworth on all, we met on Threads, and I mean, he's amazing on Threads. He's amazing everywhere. He's a brilliant guy, right? But you said something really interesting, and again, like it made me think. I was like, I love when guests teach me things in real time, right? You talk about immediacy, and you're right, because my next question was going to be, what challenges is legacy media facing? But I mean, I guess this would be the biggest thing, right? Like, the social media age is what just happened 5 seconds ago. Like, is that why you think an legacy media, how can it compete from that immediacy standpoint when we're looking at what's going on right now in real time?
It shouldn't. It should focus on what it does well. The
Mm.
value of immediacy when it comes to legacy media is creating a relationship with the consumer of your content. Whereas the real value of legacy media, and again, I'm talking primarily newspapers, print journalism, is that they have the ability to see the thing that's happening right now, step back, analyze it, pull in all the different opinions on the subject, and come up with a cohesive explanation for this thing that happened. Whereas radio is what's happening at this precise moment, and we're going to focus on that. And television fell down that rabbit hole as well in the age of O.J. Simpson, where there was a time when CNN would be like, it's 12 past the hour, it's time for the entertainment. It's 45 past the hour, it's time for sports. But then after the O.J. Simpson slow speed Bronco chase, where it was wall to wall coverage of this thing, CNN and everybody else in the cable news world came to realize that They didn't need to have a news wheel where, well, it's a certain time of the hour, it's time now for this thing. And what that ultimately creates is a pundit style environment where it's not important to get all of the facts and present them all at once. It's important to get one opinion here, hear what they have to say.
And we're just going to go to break. I got Michael Hainsworth here on Open Source.